What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? Your boy Gage is here in the house with the entire Loading Snacks Movie Club admin crew, and we are here to discuss Scott Pilgrim versus the world. So we got Frosty and Sin and
Sir.
Jokes and Domingo and Coop. Said like a swoop. Let's go around the horn and kind of get a baseline for where everyone is on the film. We'll start with you, Sin.
Mm-hmm. I am at. Hold on, let me throw this up since people are coming in the chat. What up, Doctor Who?
Hey.
Hey, Doc.
I'm somewhere around a 6 or 7. I'm somewhere around there with it.
Okay. Jokes.
I'm at an 8.
I dig that. Hey, hit the button on the.
Come on, Sin.
my-
You only
Let's
have to do
get
that.
Coop's face back on the screen.
My apologies. Coop.
Domingo.
10.
Coop.
10.
Only Heather says 8. Frosty.
10.
I'm at like 7, give or take, maybe an 8. But let's talk about it a little bit. This movie came out in 2010, and for all intents and purposes, has an all-star cast. Though many of the people in this film is a precursor to like them
That
becoming who they currently are.
Yeah.
Like, it was definitely like they made this movie for like $90 million. The names that are in this film, there's no way you pull this film off for $90 million.
No.
Not nowadays, yeah.
Someone
It's
threw
not
out a
happening.
sequel. No,
It's not
no.
It's not even happening. I mean,
Well, most of them are dead.
look, this film is a cult classic. It is. It's a film that is based on a graphic novel that was incomplete when they filmed this movie. And so in a weird, I would say special kind of twist that is unlike usually what you get when you get a movie that's based on prerequisite material. A lot of the stuff that happens in the movie ends up happening in the graphic novels because there was stuff that wasn't completed just yet. And the original end of this film did not match what the end of the graphic novel was, and they went back and changed the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that normally happens. But this movie, for all intents and purposes, like bombed at the box office. $90 million budget, did like $47.5 million in theaters. And I want to talk about why I think that is. Sin, you know comics and comic books and are familiar with a lot of pop culture stuff outside of movies. Had you heard of Scott Pilgrim before you saw the first trailer for this movie?
No.
What about you,
No.
Jokes?
Same. Hadn't heard about him.
What about you, Domingo?
Nah, not at
Oop.
all.
Not enough information. I've heard it before, but like not enough to like kind of know exactly what I was getting into.
How about you, Frosty?
I had never heard of it.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, this was their introduction to that universe. And unfortunately, I think people were very unprepared for how outlandish, like just what this world is like.
Yeah.
Definitely a cult classic, Deanna, because once this movie hit like DVD, once it got released to Blu-ray, it was like the #1 Blu-ray on Amazon. Like it sold like crazy. So they made money back up after it came out of the theater. But I think most people who maybe were familiar with Michael Cera and the kind of stuff that they were probably used to him being in, maybe went to see this, and this was very different from that. And so I think it kind of there's stuff that exists within this story that is never explained. It just happens because that's how the world exists, which is, I think, really strange and very difficult to follow if you're not indoctrinated with either video games heavily or comics or like fighting games or something like that specifically.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like a lot of what happens in this movie, I think
music, sound effects, all that stuff was all throughout it. Yeah.
It's for someone like me, a lot of it is incredible. I think for the average person, it's like,
what's going on? Yeah. How do we get here? Like,
So I'm gonna ask a question. Pick a target. Cool. Does Scott Pilgrim have powers?
Ooh. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
Frosty, would you agree with that?
No, I think he's just a fighter.
All right.
He's fighter class.
That's fair.
Would you say that Scott has powers?
Nah, but he can do some things, you know. It was just weird. But yeah.
It is weird. Jokes.
Nah, no powers.
Why does Scott Pilgrim have hands?
Dog. I couldn't give you an honest.
That's the realest question you asked today, sir.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think he had hands until Wallace was like, "Fight!" I feel like it just all of a sudden a switch got turned on, and my man just instantly knew kung fu or something. I don't know.
100%, Deanna. Like nobody expected that at all from Michael Cera. There's a lot of questions that happen throughout the movie about like other people's powers, you know, like, yo, you could do such and such, but nobody like as a viewer, I'm like, why? How come Slim could just block like that? Why does he have?
I'm sitting there trying to watch this thing, and I've seen it years ago, but I don't remember it. Like it was hyped up, so by the time I saw it, I was like, it didn't live up to the hype for me, whatever. So I'm sitting there watching it, but I'm kind of like doing other little stuff around.
You just
lost your audio.
yourself.
Well, you muted yourself.
I heard it.
Put your hands down, buddy.
Okay, as I was saying, as I'm watching it and doing stuff, you know, around the apartment, I see him start getting busy with the hands. I'm like, yo, can we get a backstory or something? Like, where did this dude get these abilities from? Like,
never happened.
It was sickening.
Never happened.
Serious with it.
That's probably weirdly enough, like my favorite thing about this movie is that like, Scott just got hands. Like you just like, there's nothing about like again, like Deanna said, like unexpected from Michael Cera, just unexpected from Scott. Like, if I don't know, man. Like it's one of those things where like you just don't quite. You certainly don't look at him and go, the minute somebody shows up and then they got powers and they got floating women around them and it's like, oh, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? And like nobody around him seems to be worried about it. Technically.
Nope. Nah, nobody in there was worried about anything.
It's just a regular Tuesday. That's it.
But then he exploded in coins and it was like, that guy actually died, but he got money.
Ooh, piece of candy. I'd have been down there. Ooh, piece of candy.
I was upset. Like that's not even enough to ride a bus,
right? That guy's life wasn't even worth a bus ride.
The Barbie movie was my favorite. I understand. It is again super video game trope, right? Like walking through beat 'em ups, and you just beat people up, and they drop money.
just drop
You know what I'm
change.
saying? And you just
I laughed out loud at that. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I
this is
did.
video game.
I forgot all about that in this shit. So when it happened the first time,
I've seen
It's
this
such a trope.
movie like a dozen times, so
Yeah.
it's just fun every single time I watch it. I wasn't gonna rewatch it for this, and then I was like sitting upstairs rewatching Mandalorian, and I was like, I'm gonna put it on.
Yeah, if you rewatching Mandalorian, you might as well rewatch
Right.
this. Like, here's the thing. What I love about this movie is how unapologetically what it is. It is.
Mhm.
Yeah, just straight up.
It's just like
Yeah.
we live in this world. Like my man's just like, I seen this girl in my dreams. Weren't you the girl in my dreams? Isn't that strange? No, that's not strange. What do you mean that's not strange?
You know about Pac-Man?
Yeah, like, and they play video games in the video game. Like it's just like a whole. I don't.
It's just
I
a
don't
roll
know.
with video game
Let's-
rules on top of it.
100%. Let's kind of run down some of the cast. We've already talked about Michael Cera.
Mhm.
Brie Larson. Certainly
Yeah.
can't make this 90 million with her these days. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who maybe you get away with it today.
I don't think so.
It wouldn't be the same, but like I don't know, like if I go through what she has on her hit list versus like what Chris Evans has.
Sure.
Mm.
Like a lot of these people are like MCU,
Yeah.
Yep.
like built and bred. Like it's like
Mhm.
you got Brandon Roth on his Superman.
The vegan.
And not even just Superman.
Hey, listen,
Which
say,
Yo.
Which I think was like the only thing he had under his belt when he did this. He had Superman Returns.
Mhm.
Oh,
From
the
like
Adam.
06. Karen Culkin cleaning up with awards now. Like it's kind of crazy. Anna
Aubrey
Kendrick.
Plaza. Yep.
Audrey Plaza, yep.
Yeah, they had the stars. They didn't know they had the star-studded cast
At
at
that
the time.
point,
Yeah.
somebody, hey, listen, whoever did the casting was on to
Aubrey
something.
Plaza for a second. So just
Whoever did
Love
the
her.
casting was
Love
on to
her.
something, and they were just a little bit ahead of their time, probably for what they needed to be at. But
Ever since Parks and Rec, Aubrey Plaza all day.
She's the best.
Yeah, for real.
When her and Jenna Ortega did their like award show thing.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, back and forth with it, like yeah. So classic. Yeah, I just don't. I don't think you pull this off. You definitely don't pull it off for 90 million. I want to kind of talk about. Since you already brought up the audio, and Domingo, I know you're a major audio guy when it comes to movies, so I kind of want to talk to you about it because while I know that you and I both could get into like the weeds about what it sounds like and how the effects happen and so forth, there's this other part of it for like say myself, No Sin, maybe Jokes, who maybe based on age that like again like Sin was saying, a lot of the sound effects, what's up Heather, a lot of the sound effects are very very video game specific. Frosty, I don't know how much like again like old school arcade beat 'em up stuff.
I played
Domingo,
them.
give me a rundown of like just how you feel about the audio in this movie.
The audio was tough. This comes from back in the day from working at Best Buy, and that's how I got introduced to it. Shout out to I think it was Marcus that gave me the Blu-ray. Or either I gave it to him. I don't know how I came across it, but I was like, yeah, I heard about this movie. And it's
I
like,
want to
okay,
say I
let's check
feel
it
like
out.
it was Josh that was on this, but that could be
It could be right. I think he was still there at that time.
yeah.
And surround sound and how things replay is what we was all doing at the store at the time. This is another movie that me and Chris sat down and watched together, and it's just one of those movies that's tied into our endless movie experience. And so the system in the bedroom was crazy, and we sat in there and we watched it. He said the same thing to me that he said when we went to go see Guardians, but the audio and a strange audio story. I don't want to get too far into it, but the audio is tough. To answer the question straight up, tough. Far as the music, the songs, even the song they were actually singing in there was pretty dope. I forgot who actually. I don't think that. I don't think that Beck had to do something. I think somebody else in that level was actually
Nah,
doing some of the music.
Beck did all the music for Sex
Mm.
Bomb specifically.
Yeah,
He did all the
their
Sex
songs was
Bomb
tough
songs.
though. It's like
Yeah.
especially I forgot that joint. That's just crazy. It's one of my favorite. That actually is a good scene. But audio was tough. The music was interesting. From the beginning, the the intro and all the effects. Big on the effects though, because it's like if you ever notice, it's like little sounds that come up, especially when they ask her, "Hey, you ever talk to like Matthew?" And the light goes across and comes onto her. All those little things, the sound effects, everything. Dun-dun. When you get a mail, delete, eat, all that. Everything is. It's totally funny because looking at listening to Edgar Wright and taking this master class on that, him talking about the movie and how everything was done, and of course, like coincident with Baby Driver, that's timed to the beat throughout the whole entire movie. That joint, yeah, that's another one. But the music was dope, the sound effects was dope. Editing wise, I'll hold that, but you already know that's an editor's dream. That was an editor's dream and a nightmare. But relating to the sound without going too far, everything was on point. Sound effects, music, even little details when things was happening inside of the story, all the little sounds like the mic squeaking when he was going there and talking about Kim. Hey, Kim loved me. Yeah, we were friends back in school, and that joint went like in an echo form, playing the music, and even one of my favorite parts for with the sound is when they keep saying X's. And when I watched the first time, I was like, yo, what do you mean X's? But then when it comes to when you find out why, when Roxy goes, lazy ass, the joint go all
And
around and
you
surround,
go all the way
come
around?
back and smack you in the face. And it's like, it's crazy. It's
And I'm gonna tell you that
truly one of my favorites.
one of the things that stands out to me, right? Not just from an audio perspective. The audio in the video in this and from a visual effects standpoint, I don't want to say it's unmatched, but the timing and the way that they put stuff together, that like honestly, for a lot of people it probably doesn't matter. But for me, the first strum on the guitar, and it's like you kind of get that echoing and you see the D's kind of come flying at you at the screen. It's like he's playing a D chord. You know what I'm saying? And they do that multiple times, right? Like they match the chord that's actually being played,
Like
show that letter, and that letter is being like pushed.
When he's fighting against the vegan.
When
they had to stand on,
right?
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not the only time it happens. It happens multiple times. Like in the movie, like there's times when like stuff like that happens, and it's just like, if you know exactly, Dr.
that's it.
If you know like the level of appreciation that you kind of have to have for something like that is, again, it's unmatched. But then also having like such a heavy background playing beat 'em ups, like growing up, the sound of what it sounds like when you put your quarter in a machine.
I could be in the kitchen, I recognize that sound. I'm like, oh, I know what just happened.
Right? But again, it's like if you're not tuned into that as a viewer of this movie, it does nothing for you. Like it just like it literally like it means nothing.
Right over your head,
and
it ends up being one of those ones you gotta watch a couple of times. Because like I said, when you
To
say
really catch
unmatched,
everything.
I think the only thing that comes matched is Baby Driver. So when you go to that movie next time, the next Edgar Wright joint, and it's time to the beat from the beginning to the very end of the movie, everything that happens, door slam, all that, that's the only thing that kind of trumps this part, because all those little sounds, everything that goes in, like the mics, the lights, the feedback of the guitar when they ask her a question, and when it goes, remember when she leaves, say, yo, say goodbye to your gay friend. She goes, gay friend. She turned around, the lights go, and then go, wow, there's all these little pieces in there that makes a difference. But it's silly, but yeah.
It's
just like, if you know what it sounds,
I think there are things like that you can appreciate. I think Baby Driver is way easier to appreciate
Man.
because I think anybody can appreciate that, right? But like again, like if you don't know video games, if you didn't come up doing it, then there's stuff that even for the things you can appreciate that are just over your head the entire time. Like there gotta be people that just like are like, why does everybody keep turning the change? You know what I'm saying? And you don't see it all the time. But
that's
like
how you
by
go
the
buy
time they get to
magazines.
the end of the movie,
Yeah.
and like when you look down after he finishes like punishing all his minions,
Yeah, and
before
they're
he fights
all the
Gideon,
body.
and all the money is in like the shape of people, it's like, hey dog, like they're like again, there are things that they put into it that really are for the people who know, and it's almost like they didn't care. Like if you don't get it, you just don't get it, and so what? You know what I mean? Then it's not for you, right? And like I don't know that you could take a person who had like aged out or what, you know what I mean, and like say to them, yo, that sounds just like when you pick your character in a video game. That sounds exactly like when you like it. Just the level of appreciation for something like that, I just think is you have to. It's literally an if you know, you know, and if you don't, you won't. Like it's like,
especially when you get to that part when he goes and it goes like it's like, what's that? That's the extra life. And he grabs that. It's like, what are you talking about? If you haven't figured out by that time, there you go.
I mean, 100%. It still is like that first fight kicks off. Look, the movie's already weird before the first fight happens.
Yeah.
Let's just
the first fight though.
Oh, super
titles. Yeah, I mean that's like I said, it's the titles that come up and explaining how old he is and stuff like that in the beginning.
All of that. The verses.
Chinese school
like
girl
you know,
with the uniform.
Yo, they overdo it. I want to talk about Scott for a second. Because I don't like Slim. He's detestable at the beginning of this movie. I hate Slim.
He really is.
He is.
Nah, Scott's good. Scott's cool.
Nah, he's not.
Scott's cool, bro.
He got issues.
Scott's cool.
He got issues.
I'm gonna tell you real quick before you jump in, real quick. I'm telling you, that to me is one of the most awesome things because I had that same feeling happen to me. You're chilling with somebody, it's all good. You see that one you want, and next thing you know, you like, yeah, I'm good.
Hey, dog,
listen.
No. Even beyond that, bro. She's 17, dog. Like,
Thank you.
Like, hey, Slim.
I guess. I mean, what? How?
So they started the movie like, he's dating a 15-year-old. I was like, oh, what?
17. It wasn't that bad, Sin.
Are you coming to my party after you're done babysitting?
That was
like everybody knows.
The R. Kelly joint when it went to
dog. When the thing spun, it stopped right in the middle. I was like,
I want to feel her. Hey man,
when that happened, that came to mind. Oh god,
Slim is detestable.
He's
and still for some reason, right? Like, look, watching this movie, you're like, I want Scott to win these fights, but he did Knives so dirty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like you just like Knives is so sweet. She is extremely obsessive, but it's like it's almost like you forgive that because she's 17. You know what I mean? Right. And then she's the only one who cares about their music at all. Like,
absolutely,
like,
she loved it.
And you know,
she straight up passed out.
We need stalkers.
We got
yeah.
Oh,
like, yo, that's a scary moment in that. Scott is that dude's detestable. I don't know how else to like. And it's like
I'm sorry. I don't know the meaning of that word, so I'm just gonna take it as a bad thing. Sorry, I'm about to look it up right now.
Go ahead. Oh God. I guess like by the end of the movie,
he kind of redeems himself.
I'm not even sure if he really ever learns his lesson. To be honest, like
nah,
they treat it like he does.
I think he learned a little bit. Like
He
Just
even
for the
says he feels
can't-
like he learned something.
Hey, he says he feels like he learned something,
Yeah,
but
that
he
doesn't
did
mean he
very
actually did.
unsure. He definitely had to lose a life.
Self-respect.
All right, well, I mean, look at it this way. So, like, in the original ending, in the original ending of the movie, he actually ends up with knives. In the original ending of the movie. But in the graphic novel, he ends up with Ramona. So they redid the end of the movie to make it match. Like, the audience was split on it. People were upset about it. So they redid the end of the movie to make it so that, like, that time when he, like, runs behind her, that kind of extra, like, oh, go get her. What are you doing? Go get her. And then he runs to Ramona, like, maybe we could try again or whatever. Like, that wasn't originally
That was
that wasn't the original ending. They changed it to make it match the, what happened in the graphic novel. And again, the graphic novel there's a lot more. You can do a lot more across the pages of like
right.
6 books than you can
hours.
in a movie that, I'm gonna be honest, is probably longer than it has any right to be.
Oh, quick second. I don't know. You know how you say according to Webster's dictionary? I don't know what this dictionary is, but it just comes up on the thing. According to Google, deserving intense dislike is what the word means. I was this years old when I found that out. Thank you. Appreciate that. One new word in my vocabulary.
I'm here for you.
Thank you, sir.
Sam, who's your favorite character in this movie?
His gay best friend.
Wallace.
Yeah, Wallace.
100%.
Hey, Wallace.
That was too easy. He was hilarious.
Hey, bro,
Coop,
listen.
Wallace.
Wallace is the best.
Yeah, 20th anniversary of the graphic novel. Frosty, who's your favorite character?
Either Aubrey Plaza or actually Envy.
That's tough. That's kind of tough.
Yeah.
I do like Scott's sister a lot.
Holy.
Yeah.
But it's minimized. I don't know. Nobody quite comes off as G as Wallace does.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Wallace
you'll
is
be my
straight
bitch forever.
pimp. Like, he's a straight G. Like, just took Scott's sister's boyfriend again. Like, just like
like it was nothing.
Like
he already knew it off the first question. He's like, "Oh, I got this one."
For me,
this in the bag.
When my man was like, "Yo," he said, "Yo, is that girl a boy too?" He said, "Yo, this goes without this guy. It's called Fuck You Die." Good. I like this song. And I'm like,
I mean, I think Wallace kind of steals it.
For real.
He just plays it so straight. You know what I mean? And just like, it's weird. He has Scott's back, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? He's like, like nobody jumps in. That's maybe my biggest issue with this movie is nobody jumps in. They just let my man fight. And like,
it's true, like a video game. Everybody stands in the crowd.
Well, I mean,
just let him
Ramona did,
At the end, you get the duo. You get
the co-op,
Max and Scott.
the bonus mission.
Yeah,
that was the word that I couldn't think of.
Yeah, but like, nah, you ain't just gonna show up on my man with the demon youngins at the bar and we not getting in. Like, I'm getting in. Like, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna jump in here. My man is spitting fireballs and nobody's doing nothing. Everybody's just watching.
Yeah.
And
but you turn into coins. You turn into coins.
Scott
a
turned
little
into
bit
coins.
Too.
They
but not more than like you said,
like it didn't
like
happen.
$1 or something.
Yeah.
Not enough for a bus ride
home.
Yeah, not even enough for a bus. He was blown.
Nice.
Like,
same time, yo.
You know what?
Wow.
Jokes, what's the funniest part of this movie to you?
Funniest part.
All right, y'all start getting y'all together while he's thinking.
I know, that's what I'm like. All right,
Already.
what was it?
Hey, it's there's a lot, but for me, during the scene when they were in the bar and they brought all of them back to start having the conversation with Brandon Routh and all of them, was when Knives was sitting there. And you know, when she got up and came over, and my man just smacked her, and then all the highlights came out.
Her hair.
And you know the thing was, I had to double take for a second because when he said it, it didn't immediately hit me. Realized that oh shit, her highlights actually did come out her hair.
I saw that on break. Yeah. Oh God. Coop, you've been kind of quiet. What's your favorite? What's your favorite? The funniest moment for you?
The vegan fight. The whole vegan fight is just hilarious. Just like the things that he's saying the whole time, like you'll be dust by Sunday on Monday because she's off on the weekend.
No, it's Tuesday.
She's off Tuesday.
You skip Monday.
Dust. Or even
now you're gonna try to have two. That's you gonna do. You're gonna try to have two.
It's the same part.
It's cheating, bro.
Can't have two. Hey, listen. Him versus Chris Evans was probably funnier than a vegan fight. I love I love the vegan fight.
My funniest moment came from him and Chris Evans. It's the part where they're like, he's laying on the ground and Chris Evans goes like, reaches a hand, like, hey man, help me get up, and just rocks him in the mouth out of nowhere. I cried laughing.
And listen,
when he asked for his autograph,
and listen,
and then he pounds him. And
and look, Chris Evans dropped like the actor voice, and he started to sound like his normal self as he was going to do it, and afterwards, he went right back into actor mode.
Bing.
I'm gonna tell you what. That first Chris Evans punch, dog. Scott ate that joint like a champ, bro. He ate that joint like a champ, and it is. I'm like, yo, it's like. Again, I don't understand Scott. I think that's the thing that gets me. Like, I don't understand. Like, he does get punished, but then he doesn't get punished. Like, he can fight, but then he can't fight. You know what I mean? Like, even in that fight, like he ends up getting jumped, and then they cut, and when they turn back, everybody else is standing. Like, I want to see him whoop them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Chris Evans can't be that clean because he ate that first joint like a champ and just kept talking like it didn't happen.
He did.
And then for him to like start getting whooped the way he was, and then like not actually win the fight, like because he doesn't win most of the fights, he loses basically every fight. He has to trick them into something,
doing something stupid
in order to win. You know what I mean? In order to win those fights.
Chicken isn't
Frosty.
vegan?
What's the funniest thing?
He tried. It was chicken parm too. Chicken parm. Like,
yeah, chicken isn't vegan. That was my favorite line. Like, this man knows, but he's like, no, not my vegan powers. You once were a vegan, but now you will be gone.
Hey, bro, they had Punisher. They had the Punisher come out and take his powers for him.
I know, right?
And they jump after taking the vegan ray, and then they jump and high five.
Like,
It's terrible, dog. It's terrible. I think the funniest thing for me is Scott skimming over that first email.
Yes, it's like this is
7 Deadly Joints, like something. I don't
delete.
Boring, like boring.
Boring. Is like what?
Scott, are you waiting for your Amazon package to be delivered? How you spell Amazon CA?
It's the
Amazon. That's
yeah. What's the website for Amazon CA? Amazon CA. Like, it's literally very Homer Simpson. Like, quick, what's the number to 911? Like, it's just a very like. It's so dumb.
No, this had a lot of funny moments in this movie.
Sin.
Yeah.
Which fight is the best fight?
Oh, versus Roxy, hands down. Yes, them versus Roxy. That one made me sit up and pay attention. Like, hold up, y'all are really getting busy out here. Y'all got no business with all this choreograph I'm seeing right now. Because her and Ramona was getting busy. Even when she brought Scott into it and would use him like a puppet, I was like, okay, this is the one out of all.
That was kind of the cleanest. That was kind of the cleanest joint.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Again, Scott is detestable. Like, he's terrible. He's a terrible human being. And then he's just like, I don't think I can hit a girl. What are you talking about, though?
Nothing about this tells me that about you, sir. Like,
there's no part of Scott Pilgrim's being that's like, I mean, I don't think I can hit a girl.
I can see you punching a woman, sir.
She's
Scott's
like,
a genius, yeah.
You don't have no choice. All right. Yeah. And like, I will say this. This movie makes me wish that it had done better so that there could have been at least a spinoff.
Yeah.
Because the backstories that Ramona gives for how she ends up with each of her exes,
could each be
some of them joints like, we was just beating people up every day, all day, just like going to town. Like,
hey,
I want to see, bro.
That's the one I want to see. You punched a hole in the moon, like
straight up.
What?
Right.
Punched a hole in the moon.
And they all rhymed too. Like, it was all like a little.
Yeah, it was like a little poem.
They were more songs. Yeah, it was like.
Oh yeah.
Domingo, what's the best fight?
It's a lot, bro. I was gonna side with the one with Roxy, but damn, I'm gonna have to say, geez, it's kind of hard. I can't choose. But if I had to answer straight up, I'm just gonna say probably the funniest one for me was when he first met Roxy walking down the alley.
That was
you
fun.
punched me in the boot.
Oh, punch me in the boot.
Yeah, but true story though, real quick. That joint when they the best song. God, I can't believe I forgot that song though. Well, the joint when they had the Monsters playing. Because the funny thing is we played against Junkyard in that exact same setup. When I saw that joint the first time and it just said
like
Amp against Amp,
the battles.
Junkyard had their system over there, and we had ours on there. I mean, needless to say, we had our stuff. They was like this overpowered. Like you can hear this shit through our system. So it was like we lost that battle. But we got at them. But that always remind me of that. And they say, when the first part when he says, we supposed to go up on stage on the same time? That can't happen. When I first heard it, I said, oh yeah, it can.
That can happen. Amp versus Amp. That can't happen.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
That shit was weird. Classic.
That was dope.
I think I'm a fan of the last fight. The whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
The death and the one up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look, it's something dope about
what's the password.
Exactly.
Whatever.
It's something dope
Second
about
password.
seeing
Your pair is stupid.
Seeing Knives get a chance to like get busy.
Yeah.
And him and like Ellen Wong actually does like she knows Taekwondo. So like seeing her actually have a moment to do what she does, and like that first time when she comes in and then she ends up attacking Ramona, like, oh, all right. They get a chance to go at it. Him and Gideon are going at it. He already beat up the henchman. Then he goes and does it again. Like, all right. You know what I mean? You know, I feel like that's the standout fight to me. Coop.
What's up?
Why is this movie a 10 for you?
Because kind of like how you explained in the beginning, like this whole background, this whole video game background, like all of it was just so familiar in like ways. It's like, damn, I haven't heard that noise in a while, or I know exactly what that noise is. You know, just the whole video game aspect to it, like it was like a whole video game coming to life. You know, it just, you know, and I love video games. You know that, so it's just like everything I wanted in the movie almost.
I dig it.
I do want to say.
Okay.
I do want to say. Dominic, you will help me remember this. You played this in Best Buy in the speaker room, in the part where Roxy, she disappears and she's like, "Fight yourself, you lazy ass." And then like the speakers that you had, the speakers are like she was all around the room. It was like lazy ass, ass, and it was just like all around. Like it was crazy. I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah, There's
You
always a
shouldn't
good
forget
thing
it,
about.
especially because Domingo just said that a
Just
little
said
while ago.
that, Joe.
Thank you for paying attention to.
That same moment.
But
Yes,
I,
Oh, well, my
yes.
stuff was
I
He
freezing up.
really did,
He
bro.
really
He
did.
really did,
we,
bro.
All right, all right.
we really
I was
had
frozen.
fun doing those kind of demos at the job. So of course, when anytime you got a movie or something like that, and you came and you had to do a demo, you chose what you thought was fun, and so that's a good thing. Yeah, no doubt, yo.
Frosty, you
Guess
gave
who's
this a
that,
10.
Frosty?
Why is this a 10 for you?
I actually wasn't gonna give it a 10. But then I was like trying really hard to think of something that I didn't like about this movie, and I just couldn't. I love the soundtrack. I love the sound effects. I love that it's video game in real life. I love everything about this movie. So easy 10 for me, actually.
Straight up 10. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You said an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't it a 10 for you? You're a video game guy, kind of.
I thought the movie was. I thought it was solid. Now I know you said you thought it could probably have been a little bit shorter than what it was. I'm actually the opposite. Maybe just to flush out a few more things within it, but at the same time, I had to come back to myself and be like, well, you know what? This really is like a comic, and flipping the pages and going from a certain places, going from one panel to the next, where you don't necessarily get some of that in between certain scenes and everything. But for me, I felt it was like maybe a few things could have been stretched out maybe a little bit more. But in trying to go through all 7 of your X's, luckily some of them ended up being like dual battles. I was going to be like, this doesn't seem like this is going to be able to. It could be. But otherwise, I thought like music, everything was solid. I loved how for like the fight choreography, the way it's put together, like you clearly can tell when like Michael Cera is there and we switch him out for like his stunt double to do the actual fights, but it's almost like it's meant to be like that on purpose. Or at least for us, I think maybe would be the way to say. But then it'll kick back, and you know when he pops back into the scene, you know when it's actually him. I just like the way that everything is shot and put together for it.
Sin,
Si, senora.
such a fair to middling score from you.
Mm-hmm.
Why 6, 7?
Like I appreciate all the video game stuff. Yes, it's funny in little moments. Other than that, for me, just personally, it's like it's okay. Like it's cheesy, it's over the top. You know, it does what it's supposed to do, like we said earlier. But it just, and then maybe that's partly because there was a lot of hype for me earlier, whatever, like going to see it, and it didn't live up to it back then. So it just kind of just sat in the back of my mind. Watching it now, just kind of like not seeing it in so long, was a lot fresher. I enjoyed it once the ball started rolling. So before, it would have been a lot lower for me for especially not seeing it for so long, just because, like I said, the hype, it didn't live up to the hype for me. Now watch it again, I can appreciate it a lot better. So
Yeah.
7, I think, is fair for me. Sit down and probably watch it with a group of people. Like we was all sitting in the room watching it. It might be higher because of the experience. But just sitting in the house watching it by myself, it's
Turning it into a drinking game.
something like that. Yeah, but like I wouldn't sit down and watch it like by myself. But if I'm chilling with somebody that I haven't seen it before, yeah, throw it on, like fun, laugh, have a good time.
Domingo, I'm going to give you the last word as far as why it's a 10 for you. Deanna wants to know what's your favorite quote from the movie. All right, so we're going to get to that in a second. For me, this is like a 7, maybe an 8, because I do feel like this movie's too long. I feel like it takes too long because it doesn't bother to explain anything anyway. So we might as well kind of just get to it.
Yeah.
But also, I think the game is better than the movie. And the game makes me want to play. Like the movie made me want to play the game.
100%.
And I feel like I would have much rather been playing the game than watching the movie, which maybe is part of what the point is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And in some manner, but like that Scott Pilgrim versus the World video game is everything.
It is
4
fire.
players, side scrolling, beat them up, beat the change out of people, take their money, buy the books, get the powers, go through the doorways. Like it is like it's incredible. And I would much rather play the game than watch the movie. And I feel like watching it again, it's been a long time since I've seen it. Watching it just made me be like, kind of wish this was over so I could just play the game.
I was thinking that the whole time, like I want to put hands.
I kind of want to
now.
I kind of want to get my hands on the sticks and play the game right now. And I actually think the game is better than the movie. And so it's kind of a weird thing. That doesn't happen very often at all. Most times the game is much worse than what it's based on.
Mm-hmm.
But considering that this is a graphic novel about people who basically live inside of a video game in some way, and then the movie is based on that, it kind of makes sense. So I think it just like watching this movie makes me feel like I want to play the game, and I'd rather do that instead. And that's kind of why that's just where it is for me. Before we get into Domingo's reason why it's a 10 for him, Deanna wants to know some of our favorite quotes. I'm gonna start with you, Frosty. You were not ready for that at all. You're like, oh god.
I mean, you once were a vegan, but now you will be gone. Like that quote sticks in my head like all of the time for no reason. Like, but it's so dumb. It makes me laugh. So, yeah.
I like it. I see Sin cheating and studying, watching the movie so he can try to find it. Nah. Hey, Coop, you got a favorite line from the movie?
Yeah, Vegan is classic. Just like Frosty, it just randomly pops up like for no reason at all.
Anytime I hear the word vegan, I'm like, you once were vegan.
Yeah,
vegan.
Vegan is a classic. We need vegan shirts.
My gosh.
I'm sure that's doable. Domingo, do you have a favorite quote?
It's too many, but I'll have to say, the next time I'll be deadly serious. Where's that from? My brain.
Straight up.
That was actually my second one.
Straight up. Jokes? You got a favorite quote?
I don't think I have a one-liner type of thing. I think just when Scott was having the conversation with his sister, she was like,
which one?
At the beginning, when he first when she first found out about knives, and he told her and she goes to a Catholic school with the uniform and everything. Like, I think it was just that whole conversation that they had was probably my favorite.
Sin?
Nope, I don't have one. I don't remember any of them, so
it just doesn't stand out for you.
Yeah, nothing sat and registered. Stay there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's more of a moment of like when he calls his sister from the payphone and he's like, "You at work?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, I'm coming in." Like he just walks in the joint. Then when he walks in the joint, she not in the joint. Like that joint is like because it leads into that whole thing where Aubrey Plaza. He's like, "How you doing that with your mouth?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never and then mind. Envy ends up doing it back to her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like.
That's a good one.
Domingo, why is this movie a 10 for you?
All right. I'm glad you saved me for last or whatever. But it's kind of like in a reference to like how
you picked the movie. I know that this is, you know what I'm saying? This was your pick. So I want to give you the,
The next one I got is y'all gonna have to read, so that might be a problem, but whatever.
I can read. What kind of insult?
Sometimes y'all might not want to read.
I watch anime with subtitles like constantly. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we'll talk about that one later. Wait, so that's November anyway. But when y'all guys took me to the first con, you introduced me to the con, and I had never been there before. I seen like movies that had Comic-Con in it. You heard the names, but then you didn't really know there was everything. You only knew San Diego and New York. You didn't know all the ones that we attend.
Right.
And that changed how I look at people, far as like, and it also opened up how you think about yourself, the things you really enjoy, and you got to spend a weekend doing that. But then Monday comes, everybody got their little moccasin shirts on, and you like, why y'all dressed like that? I've been walking around seeing people dressed up like Power Girl and Spider Gwen, and I'm getting introduced all these characters. So bring it all together, I had no particular reference to it except for when I went, and when I went, it opened me up. I had no idea what this movie was about. People just kept talking about Scott Pilgrim. And I said, okay, great. So if it was Josh, shout out to Josh for giving me the DVD and let me watch it, or Blu-ray and let me watch it. And at the end of the day, as I'm sitting there with my son, like I said, we watch all the movies together and we critique stuff. But at the end of the day, he was leaning off of me for film, whatever. That's what I'm into. And editing in that film, in that joint, when you first get in there and the lines come up explaining what they're doing, all the music, the stars and knives eyes when everything was coming on in the beginning, like, hold up, they just got everything going on here. And the sound effects that matched up to it. Then the whole story itself, it's like, okay, great. Was this a video game? I had no idea. Right. So now it's like, okay, this could really be the first successful video game that comes out because it's fun, it's exciting, the effects is nice. And then it's like, okay, great. And then we get into the story about this guy who likes this girl and then sees another girl in his dream, and the dream comes into reality. I'm like, hold up. She's walking in the school hallway, comes up, and it's the outside of the house. As an editor, I'm amazed by this. I'm like, yo, how did you do that? How did you get it so seamless in that particular point? The sound matched up, everything to that point. So it was, for me, it was the whole creation of it, which is one thing that led me to take his master class to try to find that out. And he explains it. But it's just the filmmaker side of me was like, it's a brilliant film that I enjoyed from beginning, literally to end. The story was funny. I related to some of the parts in the story, which even made me intrigued even more. And of course, at the time, you're looking, they older than that, but it's like, I'm looking at my son like, hey, yo, Chris, which one you like? You like Nas or Ramona? And he was like, I like Nas. And I said, I like Ramona. I like that. And that part when she comes to the house and goes through all the things, and then they go to the room and she's taking off her clothes. And he was like, oh, dang, that's warm. What is that? And he pulls his hands down and she's directly in front of him. I'm like, woo, boy, that could not be me. It was crazy. And I'm sitting there. So the story, the editing, the music, the lineup, I think it was more editing than anything else, but how they weave the story together. And the fact that I had no knowledge of this movie before, but near the middle of it, me and Chris was looking at each other saying, this is the best movie ever, Dad. So it's crazy. Just like we said, because we looking at it from a standpoint of how it's put together, how fun it was. Right. So, but I also, to add to that, is that having a movie club, what's funny about is that y'all, when people are younger, we go, we talk about jokes, talk about Cooper being younger, and then we being older and seeing a lot of different things in the theater when it came out. It's always funny to me when we have an opinion, and it's like, especially when me and Frosty lines up together and say the same thing, but it's like, no pun. I'm not trying to be funny this time, but it's more so like, it's funny when you don't like it and who doesn't like it for the reason why. But it's like, yo, you should kind of be more into it than it is, but I get it. I don't feel like it should have been shorter. None of that. I feel like it was just the right time for what it was. But for me, it was a well put together movie, top to bottom, stock, everything. It was just one of those ones that I put in my top 5 for numerous reasons. Had editing at the top. Story is like a number 1A. It's not even like a 2. The music pretty much is like a 2. And then that actually shined because Envy's song was brilliant.
I
think
that's the best song. I think that's the best song in the. I can't remember who wrote that song, but I think that's the best song in the movie. No,
that's Todd right there. Oh no, and it's like, and it's that joint, the battle, and then the first song that comes on, yeah. Even when he's playing, he said, "Yeah, I learned the bass line for Final Fantasy 3." It's like
rushes that joint too, bro. Like bodies that joint. And it's one of them things where it's like, if you know, because he really hit that.
Yeah.
And Michael Cera
like I said, this is a dope movie.
Yeah. I mean, I dig that. I can appreciate that, like, all the actors except for Michael Cera that are in Sex Bomb had to learn how to play their instruments. Like they didn't play, and then they had to practice playing together so that they could get good at actually playing together.
Right.
is kind of dope. Hey, Sin, you gonna read that writing tiny. You put it on the screen, you gonna read it.
And the fact that they were able to get the same actors for the live Zoom read through as well as the animation voiceover speaks volumes
Oh
on how
yeah,
much these
that was crazy.
actors enjoyed this project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 100%.
Sick.
The new animated joint is
I need to watch it.
Yeah.
that joint is
I ain't seen it yet.
that thing is
I ain't seen it.
A1.
What is it
I
on?
like the fact it takes liberties.
Netflix.
It's not the same as
It's
the
on
movie.
Netflix.
You said
Yeah,
don't
it's
come
on
on
Netflix.
yet? Oh, Netflix.
Nah,
Okay.
it's out.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
But it takes liberties. It's not exactly the same story. Like it doesn't follow all the same tropes, which is actually kind of dope.
Cartoons can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right, so look, I don't imagine that anybody is coming away from this feeling any differently about it than when we started. But I do think that all of us do have a heavy appreciation for the things about this movie that we do like, and I don't think nobody seems to not like things about it. Like that I think stands out to me.
Sin does.
Nah,
No, like, it was cool. Like I like the whole 7 X's thing, as like a storyline kind of thing. Like I said, all the video game stuff in it, I enjoyed.
For me,
You know?
I might have to ask you off camera, like what movie do you give a 10? But you hold that.
tough.
Hold that.
That's
My fault.
tough.
Go ahead.
You already know the answer to that.
I don't
No,
is it One Piece?
It is not
Every
that.
single one of the Fast and Furious movies.
It is definitely not that. That's just a personal love.
Did you see how offended Gage was?
It's personal love. And because of personal love, he's gonna get every single one of them a 10.
It's not a 10 if it doesn't have
look.
family.
Wasn't gonna do it.
that we talked about over the years that I
look, the
totally
only-
disagree
no.
about.
I mean, the only thing I think I've ever seen give a 10 to was the last Spider-Man movie, the animated joint. I think that's the only joint I've ever seen him give a 10 to.
That's it. I
That might be
don't
giving
like
a
for
fucking
me to
real
give a
game.
10, it's got to be something special. I don't just give out 10s. I don't. So even with stuff that I may love, it's you got to work for that. Like One Piece ain't a 10 to me. And that's everywhere.
Keep saying that to yourself.
Fight Club.
Yeah, if it's unfinished, like I don't put a rating on it.
I mean,
Fight
of
Club.
all things, like I certainly didn't. I was the one person who wasn't trying to give the last Spider-Man joint a 10. They was looking at me like, "Yo, you crazy?" And I was like, "Y'all right." I'm tripping.
That's one of the ones you definitely like. I don't think I look at somebody super odd if they said that joint was whack.
I still
I'd be
haven't
like,
watched
yeah, I
it.
don't think I can really associate you with you anymore, bro.
You should go watch
Hey,
that.
listen, Frosty,
It's
I
on
know
my
you're busy,
list.
but
It's on my list.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
Not the
Should
new
just say
one.
that.
Oh, okay.
Should be a movie of the month. or something.
It's
Okay,
cool.
yeah. Well,
it's cool.
you know,
My movie of the
Yeah.
month is coming up. I was not planning to do that, but now I might have to. All right, so listen. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us this evening. Look, I know that this movie is a cult classic and it is a favorite for a lot of people. So it is enjoyable. It's always enjoyable to go in and watch something like this and be able to come out and really have good conversation around the things that we enjoyed. And what makes something like this special that it seems like people weren't able to latch on to when it originally released. And so I'm glad that it has the cult following that it has, and that is strong enough that they could be like green lighting animated versions now and having the same voice cast come back and that kind of thing. So, for myself and the rest of the crew, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow night for Loading Snacks Weekly. We'll let you know. Sin, you said you already decided what the next movie for next month is?
Yes, I have.
All right, well, go ahead and just tell us.
Oh, it's 2005 Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's what we're going with.
Oh, yeah.
Next time around.
Okay.
so
Y'all
many
better get
demos
ready.
on that, yo.
Brad
So
and
many
Angela.
demos.
100%, Domingo. Like shotgun demo on the staircase.
Hey, that's the one that beat me in the contest. But I used that joint ever since I saw it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
If you ain't got no surround sound system, though, I don't think y'all should watch it. Watch it on some headphones.
Find a way. Like find a way to watch
Yeah.
it with surround sound.
Or maybe
And I
go
mean,
to a
like,
house or something, like,
be
make a
like
movie night.
make people around you mad. Like crank it up. Crank it
No
up.
doubt.
That movie sounds phenomenal.
Angie looks great too.
Domingo gonna be upset when Sin doesn't give that joint a 10, especially when he picked it. And we'll talk about that next week. So, with that, we're out. Toodles and lose.
Loading snacks.